Did you think that the grind was a humane practice? You couldn't be more wrong. When a pod of whales is spotted, a grind foreman will decide whether or not to call a grind and where to drive them. The distance between where the pod is spotted and the beach itself will determine how long the drive will be. In earlier days, a wall of sound would be made behind the whales by throwing rocks into the water and by banging on metal pipes. Today, the boat engines combined with echo sounders is enough to make that wall of sound behind the whales, so the older methods are not necessary, although they're still in use some places. This sound will frighten the whales and force them to swim towards the beach. During the chase, people on land will lay out ropes with hook at their ends at the place where the killing will happen. The grind foreman will then initiate the attempt to beach the whales as they get close enough to land. At this point, boats rush their engines and drive more forcibly towards the whales in order to induce panic and scare them closer to land. We have documented several cases where boats drive onto and over the pile of whales during this part of the Grindadráp. This causes deep cuts into the skin of the pile of whales, and that results in a lot of extra pain and suffering for the animals. As the whales get closer to the beach, people on land will take the ropes with the blowhole hooks on and run into the water. When the whales surface to breathe, these blunted hooks are then forced into their blowholes, and these ropes will then be used to drag the whales up on the beach. Because of all the force needed to drag these whales up on land, we have seen cases of ripped blowholes. The munstringari is a spear-like tool then used to cut into the whale's neck in order to sever the spinal cord and cut the main arteries of the whale. It is at this point that the water turns red. Contrary to Faroese claims, this cut does not kill the animal. It simply renders them immobilized. This means that the animal can still be conscious and aware as they're bleeding to death. The munstringari has been in use since 2011 thanks to animal welfare groups. Before that, they just used a sharp knife to cut open the whales. Today, these knives are used after the spinal cord has been cut, but we have witnessed cases where the locals have been unable to use the munstringari and have ended up using only a knife to kill the whales. In 2021, we saw this happen to a newborn calf in Klaksvik, as locals surrounded the baby whale in order to keep us from documenting the practice. The horror we have seen cannot be ignored. For too long, the cries of these animals have gone unheard. We have chosen to be their voice. Help us get justice for the animals and support our work.